Alright, welcome to this Spring Boot create an endpoint to upload a CSV file to speed run, basically. I know nobody likes sitting around for a 20-minute video, so I'm going to try to keep this quick. Okay, CSV file, comma separated value file. We're going to use dogs. First column will be ID, then name, and then lastly color. Make a couple dogs. What should max be? Golden Retriever. Gold. All right, save this as a CSV file and place it somewhere where you're going to remember it. All right. Next, we're going to head over to start.spring.io and create a Spring project using Java Gradle. Dog CSV, Java 17, dependencies, Spring Web, Lombok, MySQL, Spring Data JPA. All right, should be good to go. Yeah, I think so. Generate zip file, extract and save it where you please. As you can see, I just did this video, but it came out to be 20 minutes, so I'm trying to speed it up now. Put it in, oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. Put it in my projects. All right. There we go. Open that up in IntelliJ. Get rid of this. First thing we're going to do, we're going to add another dependency called OpenCSV. Going to use 5.7.1, copy the Gradle dependency, stick it in here, Gradle sync, refresh, and we're going to need to add MySQL properties to our properties file. First thing I like to do, change the extension to YAML. All right, Spring, data source, URL, connect to MySQL. I think it's port 3306 by default, and then our schema name, dogs, schema, whatever, username, password, and there's another one, I always forget exactly how it's spelled, this one, driver class name, add that in there, and JPA open in view false, just because I always get an error on the startup log messages. I put this in there to get rid of that annoying error, or not error, but message. And this will drop the table when you restart your application. Good for development. Let's start this up and make sure we're connected. Usually I like to just make a little run configuration. Nice and easy, main class. All right, shouldn't see any errors. If we do, we know we have an issue connecting to our DB. Damn it. Okay, what's this? Oh yeah, got to go in and make my schema. Dogs, schema, right? Dogs, schema. Yep, okay. All right, try that again. In the meantime, let's make our packages. We'll have a controller layer with a dog controller. Looks like the application started, so that's good. Service layer. We'll have our dog entity. and our repository layer, make sure it's an interface. All right, we'll start with our entity. Let's get rid of that. Annotate it with entity. If you want a custom table name, enter it here. We'll do data, all args, no args, builder, and what do we have? We need a primary key, annotate it with ID. What else? Name, breed, color, good to go. All right, clean up these tabs. Controller, annotate with REST controller. Required args constructor for dependency injection. Request mapping. We're going to prefix our endpoint with API/v1. We're going to have a post mapping, and that will be dogs upload, where we'll upload our CSV file. We'll return a response entity of type string, call it upload dogs. We're going to have a request param of a multi-part file, call it file. And if you want to name the file something else, just put it right here. Dogs CSV. You'll see later when we start using Postman, we need an instance of our dog service. And this gets hooked up through constructor injection based on our Lombok annotations. That's nifty. We'll return dog service dot create the method, pass them into the file, and let's add some log statements quick. So we are in dog controller, upload dogs with file name. All right, let's create this method. Let's get our annotations in here. Service, required args constructor, and our logger. Let's hook up our repository layer. Okay, and we're also going to need our file path, and that will be where we saved our CSV file. Hope you remember where you saved it. Enter the directory that is in. Okay. Now the log that we're in here. And we're going to have a big try catch block. We'll just catch any old exception for now. And we'll return this as a response if we receive an exception. Okay. So create an instance of a CSV reader. This comes from that CSV dependency that we put in right away. Equals new CSV reader, and we need a new file reader. And this will be our file path plus the file that we're receiving, its original file name. So the reader.readAll returns, there we go. It returns a list of string array. So it's a list of the rows in our CSV file. We'll call it rows, and we're going to loop through these rows. We'll create a temporary, or we'll create an external variable here, type dog, list of dogs. It'll be empty at first, but we'll go loop through each row in the table. We'll create a dog object out of each row, and within our loop, we'll save that to this list of dogs, and at the very end, we will save those dogs to the database. Oh, forgot to configure the repository layer. So annotate it with repository and extend the JPA repository. First argument or param or whatever will be your entity. And the second is the data type of your primary key. In our case, that's a string right there. So we want to save our list of dogs, and we'll log that it was successful. Okay. So now we actually, and let's return a OK response entity with body of success. All right, so now we have to loop through our rows and actually create a dog instance for each row. How are we going to do that? We will say we want to add each dog to our dogs list. So here we'll use our dog builder. Did I annotate this with builder? Rows dot, oops, there we go. That's why. Dogs dot add. All right, so now let's fill in our fields. So what's our first one? It's ID, and that comes from row index of 0 based on our CSV file. And then we got name, breed, color. Format that. All right, let's start this up. Hit our endpoint from Postman, and then see if it saved to the database. Clear those logs. It's going to be a post request. There we go. Dogs upload, and I like to just hit it right away and make sure that we're actually hitting the server. So it looks like we are. That's good. Form data. Here's where you're going to upload your CSV. Here's where I was talking about the name. So we get it from here. Unless you name it file, then you don't need this, but otherwise you need to specify the name. So dogs underscore CSV, and select file. Here it is. We get a 200 success. Let's go through the logs. So first, we're in the dog controller right here. Ignore these logs above. That's from when I hit the endpoint with no payload and got the 500 response. Next, we go to our service layer. You see this. And then finally, success. So here, you could log each row as well if you want, just for some more visibility, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just breezing through this. So dogs schema, we've got our table, and there we go. There are our 3 dogs from that CSV file. Ta-da! If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Hope this was not super long. Thank you.